as we discussed about observation yesterday, today I am actually coming to the core points of research. So in the beginning itself, I will begin with some presentation. Then I will go for a few other things. Just a minute. One minute. Yes. चार तगो ఇది కాకు బాలాజీ 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 ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಹಾಕ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ಹಾಕೊಂಡೆ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಬೇಡ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವೈರ್ ಇದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಎಸ್ Hello, can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
सर आप अपना स्क्रीन मिनिमाइज कर दीजिए।
हाँ मेरा
गूगल मीटिंग का जो स्क्रीन है, इफ यू विल मिनिमाइज द स्क्रीन देन वी कैन सी द कंप्लीट स्लाइड।
yes. Yesterday we were discussing about picture. Today I am actually beginning with this particular slide. The systematic investigation into study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. That's actually considered as research. Research is the process of finding solutions to a problem after a thorough study and analysis of the situational factors. So, in the very beginning itself, a question arises, why the research is needed? There are two issues actually. One is to find something new. The other one is the previously known items, if it is possible to make use in the present contemporary society. For that purpose also we have to do some research. Here we are actually working on the folk life. Yesterday we were discussing how we, the researchers, are actually preoccupied with so many information about our own culture and how many confusions we have. Today I am actually taking into the particular points. If you are a researcher, what would be your area of interest? See, some of you may be artists. Artists doesn't mean all artists have similar type of interests in research. You may have interest in color combination, you may have interest in themes, you may have interest in impact, you may have interest in the process of creation of such art forms. There are so many things to discuss. Then how you are going to select your topic? Selection of topic is also another important point. See, when you are telling the area Your area many times will be multidisciplinary one. Because if you are worrying about production of a particular art form, then the previous knowledge of that particular person who creates it, the culture, particularly the folk culture in which the person came, in which type of painting culture he got trained, etc., will come into effect. If you want to think of marketing, if you want to think about economics of selling varieties of paintings, then you may have to think about demand and supply. What sort of items are available? What sort of things you can deliver? Then where to sell these items? But it is marketing issue. Normally many artists will not do any of such works because their interest is to produce something. But this name and fame, that actually makes to think about other applications also. Okay, anyway, selection of topic is one of the very important item where you have to. Then comes a review of literature. So many people actually have written so many things so far. Maybe criticism, maybe analysis, maybe details, maybe raw information related to how to produce an art form. Maybe. With all these things ready in your hand, you will start working for your PhD. When you start the research, the very first question arises is, what would be the end of your research? You have to think about the last line, what you are going to write in your thesis. But you are thinking about that last chapter, last paragraph, last line, in the very beginning itself. You may think Ravana is being killed by Rama. Okay, it's a known story. So your search will start. At what time? In which place? In which performance? This enactment will be there. So now you have to start speculate so many things. For another 5-10 minutes, let us work on speculation. How do you actually speculate? What are your speculations? What are the things actually influences you to speculate the things? See, the research results which you speculate during your research, during your PhD work, that speculation is called by the name hypothesis. Hypothesis is nothing but it's a sort of expecting a particular outcome. Your research is actually continuously moves in one particular direction to prove or disprove your hypothesis. What is that? So with some small examples, I will explain what it is. See, actually now I am speaking about hypothesis. Hypothesis is actually one very important item in the thesis. This actually gives you a clue where you have to reach. It is something in chemistry, if you want to see, if you want to analyze water, water is having 2 portions of hydrogen, 1 portion of oxygen. If you want to prove it, you have to go to a chemistry lab, you have to make some arrangements to bifurcate that particular water item into components. Then you will come to the conclusion. If 2 volumes of hydrogen and 1 volume of oxygen is available, you will tell that, okay, our hypothesis is correct. But in art field, what would be your hypothesis? What would be your end results? So here, so many things are there. So to create the hypothesis, you have to extract so many things from the data in the beginning itself. Where is this data is available? See, for any artist, your environment is the source for your data. If you want to write the picture of a particular character, immediately you will think of the people who are around you. Because the facial expressions for a particular character may be very necessary, and it is available in so many people, but you may have to search for the right one. Similarly, if you want to show a particular incident in your canvas, then also it is very necessary to think about the incidents happened in your environment. Others? So now the point actually becomes which particular items you are going to select for your preparation of work. Similarly, in research also, it is nothing but writing a book, but it is something that you are going to produce a product out of it actually. Just a minute. Others? See, we are going to get a different type of information from the data. What sort of information we are going to extract from it? What sort of end results we expect? All these things we have to think in the beginning itself. So when you commence your research, you may start from oral informations, you may start from the pictographs, you may start from the real environments, you may start with many items. Actually, in folk culture, the objects which we are using to depict any culture, that item is called by the name material culture. The object is having some sort of legendary informations, some stories, some narrations, etc. Such items are called by the name verbal lore. So whether we begin with verbal lore or whether we begin with material culture, that's also an important thing to see. I think now you can observe this particular item. What is this? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, yeah, this is a grinding machine actually. This is a grinding stone. See, in our previous generation, this was one of the very important item in the kitchen or in the house. But now, in the present generation, this item is missing actually, because this is replaced by an electrical mixer or a grinder. See, this particular item is having so much of narrative informations around it. When women actually sitting on this, when they are working on this, they used to sing a lot of songs. They used to say some tales, etc., etc. But when this particular item is missing, the other items which are related to this, those items are also missed. So when you look at this particular item, if you want to start your research, then you may have to start a few questions. What is this? Why this was used? In which place it was available? Who prepared this? Why this item is not seen today? Etc., etc. So impact of globalization, impact of industrialization, everything you can bring it here. But when we are actually taking into the question of folk performance, we can have this picture in front of this. This actually gives rise to so many questions in our. See, any of you can try what performance is going to be conducted here, what preparation is going on here. Whether anybody would like to try your answer? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I'm not listening. Anybody is answering? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. I think some preparation is going on here. What is this preparation actually? What for this preparation is? Hello? So when you...
Like theater type कुछ
Huh?
theater type
Hello?
जी सर ये कुछ पर्दा टाइप या थिएटर टाइप लग रहा है
हाँ. Okay. Your field work actually will be like this only. You may have to understand some community. You may want to understand some performance. You may want to get some information, some particular village or some tribal community in the forest. So in such position, you will be seeing some particular items which is under preparation. Your thesis also quite exactly like this. It is under preparation. So many things are there. So many people are involved in it. So many people are actually doing something. But there is no clarity what is going to be happening there. See, your research is also creates such a curiosity. See, your research is always embedded with these questions. See, again, let us look into this. What is this? That is the first question. So if you go to a fair, if some performance is going on there, then immediately you will think what sort of performance it is. What is this? If you get an object like this, immediately the first question comes to your mind is, what is this? So to know what it is, that is one particular part of the research. What is it? What is it? But at the same time, when I said this is available, not in the modern city, not in the houses of the modern villages also, because this is already replaced. So where it is available or where it was available, that question also one of the very important question. Then if we look at this particular item, the performance which is going on, the question arises is when this performance will be made, whether it is in the daytime, whether it is in the night, whether it is in the yard of a temple, whether it is in the public place, whether it is indoor, whether it is outdoor, whether it is in a particular fair, whether it is in a secular situation, whether it can be done anywhere, whether it can be done in some particular places. See how many questions actually will come into your mind. So all these things should be listed in the beginning itself when you commence your research. Then who are these people actually? Whether they are the preparators, whether they are the helpers, whether they are the patrons, whether they are the script writers, whether they are the performers, or whether there is a separate team for stage decoration and stage organization, or whether they are amateur people, whether they are professional people, whether they belong to the same family, whether they belong to the different families. So many questions will come into our mind. Then, who are the patrons for these people? This performance is going to be done, whether it is a ticket entry performance, or whether this performance is being conducted as an offering which was actually offered to the deity for the welfare of a particular family, and who might be that particular patron who spent money for performance of this. Then for the audience, this who is having so many questions actually, and for whom this performance is being conducted. Whether this performance is being conducted for a particular community, whether it is for common people, whether it is done in a school for children for the purpose of education, whether it is done in the part of fair, whether it is in the temple to tell about the story about the deity which is in the temple. So still we are not known what type of performance it is. That question is still there. Then comes whose authority is there over this performance? Who owns this story? Which community actually can tell this story? Whether they are having any performing right over it. How many different types of communities are actually joining in this performance? Whether it is caste restricted, clan restricted, whether it is restricted for a particular community, whether it is restricted for a particular tribal community or rural community, whether it is a secular or religious program. So when the context is, if the context is made altered, what happens? Whether we can create any induced context for this. So many questions are actually comes into our mind. Then which, so far we were actually, so far I was raising the question about who is conducting this, where it is conducted, for whom it is conducted, what type of performance it is, etc., etc. If I say it is Nakshagana, if I say it is a puppetry, if I say it is a string puppetry or something, then it is telling so many stories actually. Which type of story is being told here? Whether it is Ramayana, whether it's Mahabharata, whether it is a folk tale, whether it is the tale of a deity, whether it's a legend. So what type of thing is actually going to be presented through this? Which particular item is going to be presented? But your research actually mainly concentrates on this question, how this is going to be performed, how this is going to be used. If it is a material, your point lies mainly on how it works. If it is a performance, you will think of how this performance will be made. How many people gets involved in it? How many performers will be there? How many women? How many men? How many children? How many singers will be there at the background? How many musical instruments are being to be used for this performance? How many people will be there as an audience? How far this reaction, this performance will be conducted? If it begins in the night at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock, then whether it runs up to early morning till sun rises, whether it is a daytime performance or whether it is abridged to 1 hour. If it is a TV program, then it will be for 38 minutes or 28 minutes, something like that. So edited versions will be there. So all these things you have to think of. But your research always should concentrate on this last question, why? Why this performance is being performed in this particular place? If a painting is available to you, then as a researcher, your question is why this is available in this particular place. Next question is why this type of picture is drawn by a particular type of person. You cannot expect a Ganjifa art in the hands of Ravi Verma. Why? So many questions automatically will get answers. But whether such answers are correct or not, I want to test it with one particular picture now. So I want you to interact now for one particular point. Now I want your interaction for this particular point. You have seen this particular stage. In this stage, we can have puppet show. Or if you prepare a bigger stage, we can have Yakshagana, Kuchipudi, Bharatanatyam, Hariyattam, or any other sort of folk performance. And in this particular stage, we can exhibit the stories related to Mahabharata, stories related to Ramayana, because it is pan-Indian, everybody can understand these. So in Ramayana, if Gadayuddha portion is to be performed, what type of stage you want? Because in Gadayuddha, there will be two important characters will be there. One is Bhima, another one is Duryodhana. And two Gadas will be there, clubs. Then there will be a warfield appearance. So how you expect to create a stage for this particular Gadayuddha scene? Can anybody react to this? Can you understand my question? See, I will make my question very simple. I want to conduct Gadayuddha performance in your college, in Kanpur University. I want a stage. Because I have two characters, Bhima and Duryodhana. We have properties also, materials, club, dress, everything. We will come with full dress, some musical instruments, etc., etc. So now I want a stage. I want audience to sit. Okay, you just imagine this particular situation. You tell me now, if the stage is in one particular college ground, then how many sides you want to cover with screen? If you cover all four sides, what happens? it becomes a room, and inside if Bhima and Duryodhana fights, nobody can see him. So it cannot be like that. Following? So you can cover 3 sides. I'm not getting any answer from anybody. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So my question is, what is your expectation? What type of stage will be there?
Sir, one-sided.
Huh?
One-sided. Three-sided cover and one side is open.
Okay. See, this is exactly what is hypothesis. This is exactly what is hypothesis. In any research, before getting the correct answer, we predict something because of our previous experience. I told so many things, Mahabharata. I told Bhima, Duryodhana. I told about spectators. I told about a college. Therefore, you understood that there will be a big auditorium. So many people are actually sitting on chairs. And during that time, stage will be there which is covered in 3 sides. And people are actually sitting in front of that. And these 2 performers will face them and interact. So this is actually the expected condition. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, I will show you one particular scene of Gadayuddha. Because your research certainly will be like this. You will start with some particular aims and objectives, with some sort of hypothesis, feeling that this will be the end of your research. By the end of completion of your research, you will come to this particular conclusion. You may say, Ram Leela is being conducted every year during Vijayadashmi because of entertainment. That may be your conclusion. But when you conduct the research, when you take the opinion of so many thousands of people who gathered there, if you meet the performers, if you made interviews, if you meet the patrons who actually conducts that, if you meet the organizers, if you meet the spectators, if you collect a lot of information, then your opinion may be the same for entertainment or may not be the same. There may be some other answers also. This is exactly what you are expected to find during social science research. Now I will show this particular item. I think you are viewing this particular photo. Hello. In this photo you see
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
there is Bhima, there is Duryodhana. Gadayuddha is being enacted, and I have shown half the picture only. People are sitting around them. They are in the middle. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I will show the full video of this. Then you will be able to understand how it is. The full video for 2 to 3 minutes I will display. See, in the very beginning, you had the idea that there will be a stage which is covered by 3 sides. One side is open, and people are sitting in that particular direction. But in reality, it may be different. So your hypothesis may be wrong sometimes. Hypothesis is having this advantage. All the time, the hypothesis need not be correct. Hypothesis is actually, it's a landmark actually for you to proceed. In this direction, let us go. We will reach that particular point, like that. But when you move to that particular end, you may find something new. You may find something which is entirely different to your previous thinking. So such possibilities are there. Here actually near Kuppam, where I am working in Andhra Pradesh, in Chittoor district, there are villages who are having the people called by the name Vahanikula Kshatriyas. Vahani means Agni, fire. Vahanikula Kshatriyas. And they feel that they are the descendants of Pandavas. And they perform these type of performances every year in May. For 18 days, they are conducting this Mahabharata in their villages. Some 4 or 5 places, they are actually conducting this. On the day of Gograhana, where actually Virata's all cattle are captured by Kauravas, where they were actually taken away, because to make Pandavas to come out from their disguised forms. So that performance will be conducted in that village. On that day, the cattle available in the whole of the village will be taken together. They will be driven towards Pandava's temple and they will run away. See, there actually people feels that the performance is not on the stage. It's in the village. In the same village, the village name itself is also very interesting. It is Yamanuru. Yamanuru. The village itself is Yama Gana Palli. Gana means singing. Yama Gana Palli. Palli means village. Yamana. So they are singing about Yama. Yama means Yama Dharmaraya maybe. So in that village, when in those 18 days, one particular day is reserved for Bakasura Vada. When Bakasura Vada is being conducted, performed, on that day, there will be a bullock cart. The performer Bhima character person, he will sit on that, and that bullock cart will go to all the houses on that day. And from each house, people will carry the food and they will put it in the cart, as if it was told in Mahabharata story, Bakasura Vada. And ultimately the cart actually reaches the Pandava temple there. And afterwards, Bakasura Vada performance will be conducted in an open place. And this food is actually distributed to all the people as prasadam from all the house. Similarly, in the same performance, on the 18th day, Gadayuddha will be conducted. Gadayuddha will be conducted on a plain field where actually Kurukshetra is considered as a human dead body. Therefore, the platform will be prepared in the form of a human dead body. And on that body, Bhima and Duryodhana will stand. And they will fight there. And people, the spectators, they are none other than the community people belong to that particular village and nearby villages. Those people spread around in all directions and they will observe this performance. Therefore, what hypothesis actually we are putting in the beginning, that may not be the correct, but it is not wrong to have a hypothesis, because hypothesis is required. If hypothesis is required, if hypothesis is there, then we can start cross-checking whether this is true, whether this is not true, whether we are reaching that particular end or we are deviating from that particular place. It is something like GPS. To move forward, we need such a sort of support. So for that purpose, we are actually taking this into consideration. Next is I told you in the beginning itself, we will get different types of questions. When we are looking at the particular item, we will think of what sort of data we should collect to continue our research on this particular item. So now I will come to the painting part, but this is a floral drawing. This is actually Nagamandala in Karnataka or Sarpankali in Kerala. See the beautiful diagram actually. It's a floral diagram. If you closely observe this is actually the picture of a serpent head. This is the picture of a serpent head actually. The serpent is actually totally drawn, and the performance will begin from the tail of that particular snake, and the night long performance will be there, and by the morning it reaches the head and the performance will be over. It's an overnight performance. If you are an art research person, then if this picture is drawn, if it is hanged in exhibition center, just by looking at that, you cannot come to the conclusion stating that this is a snake or two snakes together, they are mating with each other. Okay, this snake is of this color, that color. The natural color is not shown, white colors are shown actually, but the snake will be in different color. Like that you can write one book. But whether it serves the total purpose of that. If you want to conduct research on this particular art form, then what would be the expectations? See, now actually the real challenge starts beginning. What is this art form? Where it is drawn? Whether it is the contemporary society's drawing or whether it is a very ancient one. Whether it is continuously practiced or whether it is rarely practiced. Which community people are actually conducting this? In geographical area, in which geographical area this particular art form is being seen, etc., etc., etc. Like that, a series of questions you can start getting. See, I would like to draw your attention about the community thinking, about the general philosophical thoughts of Indian community and your research. Because yesterday I mentioned about Hussein's art, the picture of Saraswati. When we are speaking about Saraswati or Sharada, we are having a sort of respect to the deity. So, you are expected to write like that only. In the hands of Narada, what instrument you have to give? You are an artist. You are free to draw anything. But in the hands of Narada, you cannot give a drum. You have to give only tamburi, single string instrument. Is it not? Because some of the things are actually fixed. See, when you are working on folk paintings, particularly folk traditional informations, these are much more complicated actually. See how our people are thinking. I will give some demonstrations in the beginning itself to make you understand some of these items clearly. What is this? This is the hut in a hamlet. This is actually reflecting our folk life. People are living in huts of this sort. People are living in the huts of this sort. Because they are poor, majority of the people, particularly who are owning folklore, folk performing artists, mostly those people are very poor and they are living like this. But if they built a temple for their deity, how it will be? They will build a temple of this sort. This is also a hut. This is also made up of similar type of items. But see, the artistic approach in it. You can compare these two. The way of the life of the folk groups that you have to understand in the beginning. They are having abundant literature. They are having different type of folk performing arts, but their folk life is different. What picture they are actually giving to us, it is totally different. See, when you start analyzing, you have to think about their background and their cultural background. Because when you think about their background, they are poor, they are penniless, they are hard workers, they are actually struggling for their existence, lot of domination is there on them, they are actually suppressed, they are having lot of worries, they are having so many social problems. But when they are creating a world for others through their oral narrations, they actually give a beautiful picture of their deities, their strengths, their communities, etc. See, if you look at the folk epics, how wonderful they are actually, how rich they are actually. When you are actually doing fieldwork, documentation, you have to concentrate on this folk culture. But how to understand this folk culture? This is another great point to see. See, for this purpose, I want to show two items to you. Then I will leave some questions to you to discuss for the next day. One is, if possible, you just see this video for 2 seconds. Just a minute. Somebody please react whether you would be able to see this.
Yes, sir.
I'm giving you a glimpse of folk life of people. I will show this picture someday again, but today I want to show a few items in this. Now you can keenly observe for 2 to 3 minutes, and then I will raise some questions before you move to the next items. Can you observe this?
Sir, not visible, sir.
Not visible.
Now is it visible?
Not visible this picture.
Only
No, sir.
slide is visible, sir.
Huh? Now is
The
it
picture is
visible?
not visible, sir.
Is it visible or not?
No,
No,
sir.
Not,
sir.
sir.
No, sir.
I'm sorry. Now,
No, sir.
No, sir.
is it visible?
No, sir. Only slide is visible, sir. Datum, information slide is there, no, sir. That only.
What about this?
Sir, I request you to please minimize your screen. The picture is playing in background.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Huh.
Sir, I request you to please minimize your screen. The picture is playing in background. Therefore, it is not visible here. You just see this icon of minus here in right corner. You just click this icon and the whole screen will be minimized. And the
Mine is minimized.
so the screen of Google Meet. Please minimize the screen of Google Meet, not the window of presentation.
Okay.
Because picture is playing in background, therefore only we can hear only sound of it.
Okay. I will do one thing. Tomorrow I will transfer the videos first to any of you. If you share that video from another end, it may be clearly visible. Okay. I will try to do that tomorrow. Today, just I will show some photos to you.
Excuse me, sir, if you wish, you can share it to me on my email ID and I'll show them.
Yes,
Right
tomorrow.
now.
Tomorrow.
I can do it right now, right now, sir.
हाँ?
अभी कर सकते हैं सर, आप दे दीजिए.
अभी टाइम हो गया है ना?
अभी sir, we still have 20 or 25 minutes.
Yeah, because I want to develop one argument for another 10-15 minutes. Yes. Better let us have this video tomorrow.
Okay, sir. So we still have around 25 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, just I will do one thing.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. One simple item is missing. I am searching for it. I hope, can you see this photo now? One photo I actually shared. Can you see this photo?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Only blank screen is showing.
One photo I have actually sent. No?
No, sir.
I see it's bad. Okay, tomorrow I will do another thing. I will send these photos first. Somebody. Now, can you see this photo?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not visible.
What is there in that photo? What you are seeing? See, this is one particular photo where actually a folk performer is taking a very sharp implement. He is hitting his own hind leg and he is piercing that particular sharp item into his leg. And a lot of blood is actually coming out of that. I will give you the video of this tomorrow, so that in the beginning itself, first 5-10 minutes, let us see all the videos, then let us start our discussions. So this is one particular item. This is the photo where actually on at the wrist, he is actually piercing a sharp item through this. And that is actually coming from the other end. He is doing it. And in this, in his cheek, he is actually putting this and it is coming out in the other side. Okay. Now piercing iron tridents through cheek, through wrist, through hind leg, such body paining rituals are being conducted in different temples. So I want to take this particular example for my discussion now onwards. I want to show one more picture. First I will show that, then I will come to the next item. Can you see this picture?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Now can you see this? This picture?
No, sir.
No. Okay, it's bad luck. Just a minute. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Now
sir.
can you see this? Hello? Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Visible.
Visible.
Yeah. This is actually a particular community. I will describe about this particular community later. I am actually getting information from the community people. Can you observe this photo?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just you see the length of the paper.
सर माइक म्यूट
Sir,
है सर।
please unmute.
सर अनम्यूट प्लीज। सर म्यूट है सर। सर नॉट ऑडिबल सर, म्यूट है सर।
Sorry. Now it's okay. See, when a particular art form is actually displayed in one of the exhibition, then the viewer and the person who created that particular art form, if they belong to same tradition of life, if they belong to same clan or same caste or same regional background, then it is easy to understand in one particular way. But if they are very alien to each other, then how the art form is going to be understood? See, for you, the art researcher, you should have two thinkings always. One is insider's opinion. Another one is the outsiders, the aliens' opinion. It's very important. Whenever you look into particular item, you will feel that, okay, I know this. If you are entering into a temple, if puja is being performed, so when the sound of that bell, jagate, nagari, etc. will be more, it is during the time of Mangalarati. If you go to a particular marriage function, then there will be Nadaswaram, there will be Mridangam and other things also will be there. The Purohit will be chanting chants, actually mantras. But at one particular point, the sound, the noise will be maximum. Which is that moment? Can you identify in marriage when the Nadaswaram sound will be maximum? At the time of tying the tali. Do you remember? At the time of tying the knots, at that time the sound will be maximum. In a temple, when puja is being conducted, the sound will be maximum at the time of doing Mangalarati. But in modern programs, if a very good orator is speaking, the clap sound will be maximum when he concludes. When the program is completed, at that time there will be big clapping. See, these sounds actually, they are markers in our rituals. They are some sort of markers. For any ritual practices, there will be specific cultural markers which actually tells about the importance of these things. For a Hindu, if I tell this, he can easily understand. For a person from Ireland, maybe from Christian background, who never visits any Hindu marriage program, for him, if you tell these things, it's very difficult to understand this particular meaning of that particular context. He cannot grasp the situation also. See, this is actually the problem when you are creating a particular art. At the same time, when you are doing your research, also you will face such type of problems. Because we are actually working on the art forms for our research, these art forms many a times comes from our contemporaries. For example, if you work on Chishu Krishna Shetty's art form from Karnataka, so okay, he is a contemporary artist. What modern artist and other thing you are knowing, he also actually produces with the same background. So you can analyze in one way. If somebody is actually working on Ganji for art, okay, it is having how many years of history? So with that background, you will start analyzing. If Ravi Verma's art, so automatically you will go 1.5 century back and you start thinking about his time period, his thinking, etc. See, when you are doing research, there are two important points are there. One is the physical time, where actually the art form is being created. Second one is, from what cultural background the artist comes. Third one is, from which sort of community background he has taken the theme, because the theme also comes from a particular community. If you are actually taking Ramayana of North, Ramayana of Kambam from South, or Ramayana in a folk religion, so which type of Ramayana he has taken? So because there are variations, and with that background, the person is going to produce a particular art form. Similarly, the folk performance also. Therefore, when you visit a particular community group in a village or in a forest, tribal hut, then you should have some different type of preparations to do your field work. The first point is, you should have a greater understanding about that particular community, who they are, whether they are pastoralists, that means cattle herders or shepherds, or whether they are agriculturists, whether they are workers, laborers on stone cutters. So what type of community they belong to? Because their worldview, their thinking is actually embedded with that particular. See, if you are asked to do some Ekadashi, that is fasting for one day, you may feel it's very difficult task. But the devotee who can pierce a iron trident through his hand for the sake of his family, for the sake of his community. I have shown you another photo where actually a person is actually hitting his own leg, making a hole there and passing some iron tridents through that. Blood is actually shedding down. I asked him, I conducted a close interview with him. I asked him, why you are doing this? He told me the whole story. The story is a myth. Story is an epic. It's a folk epic. It's a Sthala Puranam of that particular place. Two demons were living there. This Shiva came in the form of Martanda Bhairava. He slayed them. He killed them. The Atma, soul of those demons, they are roaming around here. Therefore, they want blood. I am shedding my blood from the leg. Since I have given my blood, the souls are not asking for any more blood. Therefore, my people living in this particular community, they all will be safe. So for their safety, I am doing this particular performance. See, what I would like to tell you is, see the mindset of the people, the strong devotion, the strong belief, what they are having. The belief system of any community is very important, because when you are able to understand that belief system, then only you will be able to understand why the people are actually doing such particular act. So when you extract such items from the community, from the environment, from the community people's activity, and if you want to depict it in your art form, then you have to understand that cultural background, the mental thinking process, and their belief system, and that will be depicted in the canvas also. If you want to analyze the canvas, then also you have to have all these items in your mind. If you are able to understand all these items, then only you can understand the canvas in a proper way. So particularly here, some Savara tribe is there in southern India. Some Edigas are there, toddy tappers in Karnataka particularly. These Edigas are actually, and some Siddhi community, African Negro communities are actually living in one district of Karnataka. Since 500 years, they are living here, and they localized their traditions, etc. And they are very good in wall painting. And for this wall painting, they are not using any of the modern paints. They will prepare it from the organic items available in their forest. So I allowed my students to go and do some research on this particular item. So what we understood is, they understood the nature first, they interacted with the nature first, they got practiced to this particular art form by practice only, and they themselves have created a combination of colors, and now almost within 500 years the art form is fixed, and now actually they are practicing. So when you are doing your research, you have to concentrate on all these items: the community's background, community which is actually practicing that particular art form, and why they are actually doing all such things, and what is their mental status actually, how they are actually embedded with the culture, why they are actually depicting the culture in that particular way, etc., etc. If you are able to say all these things, then your research actually will move in the right. Therefore, today what I would like to tell you is, before commencing your research, you should be able to identify your area of interest first. In which area you want to do your research. Make it very clear. If you want to work on tribal painting system, okay, think of that. Wall painting, rock painting, etc., etc., whatever it is. Or if you want to do your research on modern painting, then also. But at the same time, the people who are doing that particular art form, whether they belong to a particular community, whether this art system, it is restricted to any community, if so, what is their background, what is their belief system, etc., etc., you try to understand it in the very beginning itself. If you are able to do all these things, then you can shift your idea to create a particular objective and aims for your research. Unless you define your objectives in doing the research, you cannot continue. Unless your objectives are clear, you cannot do the field work also in the proper way. You may think that I will go to the forest, I will meet a community, I will collect a lot of information, I will take one videograph. So video camera, I will collect everything, I will come back, I will sit in my laboratory, then I will do all my research. You may think like that, but it is not possible. When you go to the field, you have to have a question paper with you in the proper order. If you are not having a good question paper, then it is very difficult to organize to collect the data also. And in the field, another big problem is, if a serious performer is doing some performance, you cannot extract the information from him. For example, that person who was piercing rod in his hind leg, at that time you cannot hold your mic to him, and you cannot ask him the questions, why you are doing this, who are you, what is your name, what is your occupation, etc., etc. You cannot ask that question. That work you have to do it in the preliminary stage, or you have to do it at the later stage. You have to identify the people who are the representatives for your research. So that also you have to do. Then When you identify your aims and objectives, then you have to frame your research question. You have to come with one particular single sentence, what you would like to do. I want to do research on Ravi Verma paintings. So, okay, you may feel that this is one single sentence, but it is not so. Because Ravi Verma's art is not actually restricted to one particular forum. So, there is one particular lady holding a lamp in her hand. It's extraordinary actually, that art form. Okay. Now you may have to fix your question in a different way now. So like that, you have to have a broader idea in the beginning, and you have to make it sharp and pinpointed, and you have to prepare a focus point. When you organize your thinking in the very beginning way to a particular specific point, then you will get some idea what information you need to do this particular item. If you want to do about Ravi Verma paintings, who is Ravi Verma? That's the basic question. How many paintings he has produced? That's another question. With what mythological information he has started doing that work? That's another information. Who are his patrons? Mysore Maharaja or anybody? So that question will come. Whether he worked for the satisfaction of the patron, or whether he worked for the satisfaction of the viewers, or whether he worked for his own satisfaction. See, all the three are having different things. So, your question actually synchronizes for some particular point. Many questions may arise, but you synchronize them, make it one question, make it one single line. Then comes, what would be the answer for your question? What would be the answer for your question? What would be the answer for your question? That itself is hypothesis. Hypothesis is that one. You are expecting this answer. Ravi Verma did it for himself. He has not done for any patron. That may be your hypothesis. You start working upon it. You take the history at that time. In which court he was living. Who actually paid for his works. Who actually took care of his hospitality. Who was his inspiration. Who actually collected his items. Who actually preserved his items. Who is the next generation actually took the clues from his work and continued that tradition. Then your answer may be wrong. He might not have done it for himself. He might have done it for his patron. Or there might be some other inspiration for doing such work. So this is actually required in your research activity. So I think one particular day we may have to sit together. We have to discuss about each one's topic. I may ask one time for all 14 people, which is your topic. So, because why you selected that topic? What geographical area you are actually fixing for your work? How many art pieces you are actually taking for your organization of research? How much of information already is available in this particular field? How many books you have already read? How much of information is available? Which one is new? Which one is old? In what background you want to study? What theoretical perspective you are having? What theoretical frame you want to produce with this research work? If you start thinking about your research, then my talk actually connects somewhere. So now today, you just try what all the things you have to observe before making a proper data collection. While collecting some data for your work, what sort of observation you have to make for your research? That you start thinking today. At the same time, what would be the hypothesis for your thesis? For your topic, what would be the hypothesis? You just try to fix upon these two items, then we can go to the next item tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will speak about fieldwork. what is field work, how we are going to select the representative persons. Then I will tell what is social survey, what is pilot survey, then how we are going to collect the information, how many different methods are there. Actually, what all the items I have shown in photos, they are all my personal collections. I went to the field, I went to the different communities, I collected them between thousands of people in several fairs. I sat with my camera or with my cameraman and we collected. So, you also have to do all such works. See, on table also, on library also, you can do the research. On field also, you can do the research. But getting the information is very important. There are two types of informations. One is primary information, another one is secondary information. Primary information is the information which you are getting directly from the field by the concerned people who are actually working on that particular. The other one is the secondary information. It's already collected information or somebody else is telling about it. See, I am doing this particular item. This type of information is primary information. He has done like this. That is the secondary information. So, let us discuss more with more examples. And if you have any questions, I am ready to receive those questions. If not, I am providing answers. I will keep it for further discussion. So, thank you. Today, in the beginning, I had some disturbance because of this electricity problem and other things. So, a little bit I also got disturbed. I hope you understood what is hypothesis and how wrong we will be in expectations. Anybody wants to make any comment?
The mic is mute, not audible.
Please unmute your mic, sir. You are not audible.
Tomorrow morning, if possible, you please, tomorrow when the class begins, at that time, if possible, you please type your titles, topics, so that I will have a look at it, so that I can discuss about it. That's one thing. Another thing is, tomorrow I will discuss more about fieldwork with certain examples. At that time, you can raise the questions in the middle itself, because that portion may be very helpful to you to do your research if you are in the beginning stage. If you are already in the concluding stage, of course, okay, you can rethink what you did is okay or not. But if you are a beginner, then it may be helpful directly. And try to think about hypothesis and what all the things you have to collect for your research. Can any of you can say about your topic, one or two people? Title of your research? Krishna ji?
Sir, it is not decided yet.
Okay, it's good. What about Krishna? Mishra?
Yes, sir. Sir, at Allahabad, sir, artist.
Huh?
सर इलाहाबाद से के सर आर्टिस्ट पे करना चाहते थे सर इलाहाबाद के जो कलाकार हैं सर आर्टिस्ट पे
Okay. Anyway, tomorrow I will try to concentrate on that. I will see the list of your topics, then I'll try to make some points. So, okay, once again, sorry for the inconvenience in the beginning. I hope the things came in line. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.